My name is Brandon Nessenoff. My friends call me Ness. I'm 19 years old. I'm a Caucasian male. I guess that's how I would identify myself.
And what inspired you to start dancing?
I don't know that there was really one particular turning point in my life that made me want to start dancing, but I kind of started my freshman year of high school. I don't know, I guess maybe I was just tired of not being able to dance. I don't know, I would go to a party and I always had a sense of rhythm. I could always imitate, if I saw someone dancing, I could copy their moves and kind of mimic that. But I didn't have anything of my own ability, my own talent. And I don't know, I mean, I guess it was just something that I wanted to get good at, a skill that I wanted to train up and acquire, and I kind of just motivated myself to get good at it.
In your childhood or your community or your culture play a big role on how you dance today?
I guess so. Interesting because where I grew up, I'm from Great Neck, New York on Long Island. Not a lot of people dance. It's not a thing. It's not a very big deal. Whenever I would go to a party or something, it wasn't people were having a freestyle circle going on or something like that. And all the kids that I went to high school with, none of them could really dance. Maybe a handful of them. So I guess it kind of influenced me, in the way that it set me apart. It was something that I did that not a lot of other people did, and especially because I grew up playing sports all the time. I played football and I ran track for my high school. And I was kind of, I was a captain on both of those teams, and I was, decently important to them. Kind of this idea of why are you dancing? It didn't really make sense to a lot of people when they would see me dancing. But you're an athlete. Why are you doing this also? I was yeah, because I like to piss off. It makes me happy. And in terms of culture, anything like that, I mean, my family are very supportive of me. They always say if it's if it's something that you want to do, just make sure that you're the best at it and that you enjoy doing it. And it's not I really want to do dance as a career, but as a hobby, I like it, and it's a good way for me to relieve stress and stuff. Hip hop is the style of dance that I do, it's interesting because it's a very diverse style. It's the roots of it are from a lot of different places, and it has elements of jazz in there, and of even African and a little bit of dancehall. If you look, there's a lot of it's the coming together of a lot of different styles. At the same time, historically, it hasn't been very well respected, and a lot of people think just because you do hip hop, you're not a real dancer because you're not, well trained in ballet or jazz or whatever it is. And typically, hip hop is thought to just pretty much be very prominent in the black community. So for me, being a white Jewish kid, it really, not a lot of people think that I would, it's something that I'd be interested in, or it's something that I do, just because of, my ethnicity and my religion and whatever. So it's interesting for me to whatever, go to a party or, whatever, if I'm performing on stage or whatever, I always get a very surprised reaction because people don't expect it. They're they see me come out and they're oh, what's he gonna do? And then they see, oh, he's pretty good. I didn't think that was gonna happen. So I think that's definitely one stereotype would be that, it's just pretty much, it's an art form that is correlated with, the black community. And as I was saying before, it's just, I feel nowadays it is becoming more respected, but traditionally it hasn't really been thought of as a legitimate form of dance.
Where do you see the evolution of hip
Let's see. I think that hip hop nowadays is becoming a lot more lyrical. Like, I feel like kind of a lot of hip hop choreographers and all of hip hop dancers in general have kind of moved from that hard aggressive style into a more it's still not contemporary because it is still hip hop, but like a lot more lyrical. Like a lot of the choreography that I've seen, from these big time choreographers, if you watch their videos on YouTube and stuff like that, they're starting to branch out into more, songs that necessarily aren't as heavy hitting, rap or with a hard bass or whatever. And just they really play up on the lyrics and they try to tell more of a story with the dance as opposed to just coming out and really trying to just wow people with power moves and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting because it's kind of showing another side of hip hop, a smoother, softer side that plays into different emotions of what people the whole idea is to get the support of the audience and to get that kind of reaction is to play into their emotions. So instead of getting so excited and hyped and with anger or with aggression and stuff, it's more you're entertaining them in a different way. So I think it's interesting, and me personally, my style of dance does reflect that softer side more. On Outlaws, we have a whole variety of people from many different backgrounds, both in regards to ethnicity and in dance background. So we have people who come hard with floor work and power moves, break dance moves, or we have crumpers and poppers and stuff like that, very sharp, very into it, stuff like that. And then with my choreography, it's very much more, I don't know, it's more like that R&B sound. It's sexier, it's slower, it's I don't know. It's that type of hip hop, that brand of hip hop is something that I enjoy more, and it's something that clicks with my creative process more. I can go into the studio with a song like that and come up with a dance in not even 2 hours. If I'm motivated to do it and it's something that I vibe with. So I mean, yeah, I think that hip hop is kind of going in that direction towards more of a more storytelling, more lyrical kind of a direction. Right. So basically, Outlaws started this idea that my friend Jay and I came up with when we were shopping for a costume for the Couture Dolls dance showcase that we were in. So we were in the mall and we were in H&M or Forever 21 or one of those stores. And we started talking about hey, what if we made a dance team on campus, because there aren't any hip hop teams, and that's the style that we both do. There are a ton of dance teams on campus, and I'm not trying to take away from them. They're all great organizations. But hip hop is not the priority in any of them. You have DanceWorks has a number of different styles that they do with a ton of talented individuals. Calabash is Caribbean with a little bit of hip hop. One World is African with a little bit of hip hop. Raíz is Latin, same thing, with a little bit of hip hop. But hip hop was never the focus, and that's what we wanted. Not to mention that a lot of the other dance groups are very segregated. And for me, I was saying before, it's not very common that you see a white Jewish kid that knows how to dance pretty well and wants to be a part of of a team like that. So it was pretty intimidating for me because I wanted to join a team my freshman year, but I didn't really see one that I fit in with, and that really kind of deterred me from joining any of them. So Jay and we started talking about creating this, a diverse team with a comfortable environment, just welcoming anybody who just wanted to dance, anybody who had a love for hip hop and just wanted to be a part of a crew, of a family. And that's, I'm pretty happy with how it's come out so far. We have 16 of us now, and it started off with just 6 of us, and now we've grown, our numbers have grown, and we're all close, we're all get along well, and it's not a feeling of distance between any of of the members. You know, like with a lot of the other teams, I feel like there's a gap between, you know, senior members and new members, or a gap between like e-board and the other members. With us, it's all like, you know, everybody has equal say, equal responsibility. And although I'm the coordinator of it, you know, I'm you know, the leader or whatever, I don't have more say than anybody else. My responsibility is just I need to keep everything together. I need to arrange, you know, practice spaces and you know, performances and all that stuff. I'm taking care of all the stuff behind the scenes, but when it comes down to like what we do in practice and all that, everybody has an equal say. And that's what I'm really happy about that we have.
What are some obstacles you had to face when creating the group, and some obstacles you face now when you're trying to
like
dance with?
right.
Yeah.
Alright, so good question. So yeah, starting off, Outlaws starting up was very rough. Like I said, you know, Jay and I were just, you know, we're a couple of kids that had, you know, a dream basically, but realizing that dream is not very easy. So we basically spent a lot of time over the summer in constant communication with each other, trying to draw up our RSO application, which entailed a lot of paperwork. Then we had to create a constitution and, you know, include all these articles in it and, you know, all that. And the fact that I live in New York and Jay lives in Los Angeles didn't make things, you know, any easier, because our schedules didn't always match up, and, you know, we were just talking on the phone for hours at a time trying to, you know, crank through this application. And when we finally did get it finished, and when we sent it into RSO, we were denied. And to this day, they really didn't give me a straight answer as to why they denied us. All they said was basically, your application was missing a component or something and it's invalid. And I emailed them back and I was like, hey, what was missing, so I know for next time? And they really never got back to me. And after that happened, Outlaws was really in this kind of state of purgatory, because Jay and I, that really was a blow to Jay and I. Like we lost a lot of motivation. We didn't know what we were gonna do. Are we gonna you know, try to just stick it out without any funding, without being able to reserve anything, you know, because that would be very difficult? Or are we just going to scrap it for this year and just try again next year? And for probably 2 or 3 weeks, you know, we didn't tell the team anything. We were just like, hey, we're still waiting on them to hear back from them. For those 2 or 3 weeks, we just were, you know, sitting on our asses. We didn't know what to do. And finally, I just thought to myself, like, nah, we have a group of people supporting us that believe in our vision, that want to help us, that want to be a part of this. And we've put in so much time into, like, you know, making this happen. I'm not just going to give up now just because, you know, if you're facing adversity doesn't mean you should just give up just because times are hard. So I started, you know, to think a little bit more resourcefully. And fortunately, a good friend of mine is the president of the Pi chapter of Lambda Alpha Upsilon fraternity here at Syracuse. And I had lunch with him one day, and I said, hey, Kai, can you do me a favor, and can your fraternity sponsor Outlaws, my dance team, and kind of help us get off the ground? Because since they're a fraternity, they're a recognized student organization, they have access to funding, so they can help us promote, they can help us with flyers, with tabling and shine, with reserving practice spaces and studios and stuff. And he said, yeah, sure, you know, like, I agree with what you're doing, and I want to help you guys out, and whatever you need, you know, you can talk to me, and we'll try to help you out as best we can. So, you know, it was really thanks to Kai, and thanks to, you know, this fraternity that we were able to get things off the ground. And, you know, fall semester was kind of putting a lot of things together, and then, you know, spring semester, so far, we've been really picking things up. You know, we picked up 10 new members, having practices 3 times a week, and we have some performances coming up, so, you know, I'm happy that we were able to get off the ground with that. But last semester starting off was pretty tough. And then now, you know, we face a different set of problems. Is now that we are, you know, getting things going, we have, you know, people are flaking out on practices, and it's hard to get all 16 of us at practice at the same time, so that's a difficulty that we face. You know, making sure that everybody's there and everybody's on the same page is tough. also, you know, the stress of having these performances. We have one performance coming up basically right after spring break, March 19th. We were invited to perform at an event, and you know, we want to make sure that we're performance ready. It's stressful to, you know, because we need to like just basically, you know, we had that week of spring break that we're not going to be around, we're not going to be practicing, and we just need to drill, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday once we get back to make sure that we're performance ready. So those are pretty much the two things that are difficult now, is, you know, getting everybody together at the same time, make sure everyone's on the same page, and then just, you know, that stress of, are we going to be good enough to get on stage, and you know, are we going to give a good showing of what we are as a team.
How difficult is it to teach and learn new choreography with the original members and the new members that you just picked up?
Okay, so the original members, there were only 6 of us. So, you know, it definitely is easier to teach choreography to a small group. So we really didn't have many problems with that. And like I said, you know, even though we're a new team, like we had a very high standard of the dancers that we wanted on the team. So the 6 that we had originally were myself and Jay and 4 other people who we knew were good dancers, who we actively wanted to be part of our team, because we knew that they could handle it, and we knew that they were good, and that, you know, we wouldn't face any difficulty with them being able to learn and execute choreography. So we didn't really have any problems with that. I mean, we teach, you know, a variety of different, you know, dances in terms of what kind of songs we dance to and stuff like that. Like I, you know, mentioned before, some of them are like hard and aggressive, and other of them are like smoother and whatever. And everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. But overall, I feel pretty comfortable with the ability of the team and the way that they'll be able to do everything that we teach them. And now that we've added the 10 new members, we bring a whole lot more talent to the table. And it was nice for me to be able to kind of take a step back and kind of, you know, push choreography onto the other members of the team, and, you know, giving them creative freedom and being like, hey, if you want to get into the studio and you want to bang out a routine to a song that you like and whatever, and you think that we would be good at it, and it's good choreography, come in and show us and teach us and whatever. So, you know, it's not just Jay and I coming up with choreography anymore. We now have a number of other members who are contributing as well, which is a very big relief for me, because it's not easy to just get in there and just be cranking out dances every week, especially on top of school. Like, you know, for professional choreographers, that's their job, that's their life, but for us, we're students first, so it's not.
So how does everyone's cultures and backgrounds bring something new to the table without butting heads?
Without what?
Like butting heads.
Oh,
and like
well, I think that's what sets us, you know, furthest apart from any of the other teams on campus, is that we have such a diverse group of members. Like, we have everybody from, you know, white to black to Latino to Asian to, you know, everything. And it just makes me happy that, like, you know, all of us, you know, in a world where, you know, people don't always see eye to eye on matters of race and stuff like that, and they're, you know, although people have come a long way, there still is, you know, a lot of prejudice in the world. We, you know, it's kind of saying that, you know, dance, and to a greater extent art, transcends all of that. Is that, you know, we are all together because we love to dance, and that is what we want to do, and it doesn't matter what we look like, it doesn't matter where we're from, that's what keeps us together. And, you know, everybody is, you know, fairly easygoing. There are some people who are a little bit more high-strung than others, but that has nothing to do with where they're from, that just has to do with, you know, their personality and whatever. So, you know, that's not to say that we don't butt heads a lot, you know, because we have our fair share of that, of arguments and debating on, you know, a number of things. Anything from, you know, what dance should we do, what song should we choreograph to where we should go for dinner, like, you know, so we're not, you know, totally peaceful all the time, but I think that the fact that we're so diverse is definitely a positive, and it's something that I take pride in, and I'm happy I was able to create, because we have, you know, an environment that nobody is going to come in here and say, I don't belong here. No one's going to feel that, you know, just because I'm a certain race or I look a certain way or whatever, I'm not going to fit in, and because that's what happened to me. Was last year I looked around and I didn't see any white guys in any dance teams, and I was like, that kind of put me off, and it intimidated me a little bit. And even though I'm not necessarily an insecure person, like I think I have a fair amount of self-respect and self-confidence. Just that idea of me being the only one still was enough to put me off, and enough to make me not want to try out for any teams. So having us all together and having everybody, just the way they are, it's good. It's a good thing to have that kind of diversity.
Where do you see Outlaws going from now?
I mean, obviously to top, like, we're going to be the premier dance team at Syracuse, and then we're going to take over the world because, of course. I do think that we're going to be on the rise. A lot of our team is fairly young. We only have one senior, so we're only going to have one person leaving next year. And the rest of us are, freshman, junior, sophomore. So me personally, I'm a sophomore, so I'll be here for the next couple of years, doing my best to lead this team and make it something great. And I'm going to do everything in my power to have us, by the time I graduate, to have us be established and not have to worry about, after I graduate, oh man, is Outlaws still, happening? Is it still a thing? Because there was actually another hip hop group a few years ago, before us, that, very talented guys, like great team. I've seen videos of them, and I've spoken to one of the former members, and they were legit. Like, they were a great team. But the problem was that after they graduated, after the seniors graduated, it kind of just fell apart. And I really don't want that to happen to us. So, I think that over the next couple of years, we're practicing a bunch, we're performing. At the end of the semester, in March and April, we've got a bunch of stuff going on, and we're going to try to get our name out there, and we're going to try to get people to be like, wow, this team is crazy good, and we, want to see more of them. And if we have that support, then, there's no reason for us to not, leave a legacy, and to not, maybe 10 years down the road, when I'm an alumni, come back and, see the Outlaws dance showcase, and I'll be there and be like, I created that, I'm one of the founding members, and this is what I created. So I think that Outlaws has nowhere to go but up from here, like we started from nothing, like we really did. We had our struggles, and, I wouldn't say that we've made it just yet, but we're on our way. So I think that's something to look forward to, is just seeing some more of us.
Trying to Fuck a vacay, I feel better at work. I mean whatever it's worth, I give whatever I'm worth. For my niggas who gon' go to hell and back for me, I'ma give them heaven on earth. Or a hell of a check,